Good afternoon, Nigerians, and welcome to the program, The Voices, and happy 65th anniversary for Nigeria. 65 years of independence. Now, on October 1, 1960, Nigeria became a sovereign nation. And since then, our journey has been marked by triumphs, trials, hope, and successes. This year's official theme, Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation, is a call for unity, collaboration, and collective responsibility, a recognition that the work of building Nigeria is not a burden of government alone, but of every citizen, sector, and community. In the next 1 hour, we'll revisit key chapters in Nigeria's journey, the promises, the pitfalls, and the path ahead. We will ask, has Nigeria at 65 delivered on its vision? What has succeeded and where has it failed? And most critically, how do we shape the Nigeria we want for the next 65 years? Some of the key chapters that we'll be discussing will be the political evolution and governance. We'll be looking at democracy since 1999. We'll also look at the economy as well as security. Let me welcome my guest in the house. He is Dr. Sani Aliu. He is the Commander General of the Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization, NESO. It's a counter-terrorism and insurgency organization. Dr. Aliu, it's a pleasure having you around.
Thank you for having me on the program on the day of Nigeria's independence.
As well as your birthday. Happy birthday, sir. All right. And we had to make you climb up to the 11th floor.
Yeah.
So you never forget this birthday.
Forget this birthday. At 60, I climbed up to the 11th floor. So
wow. All right. But before we go into the discussion, let's hear what the president said this morning on the 65th independence speech.
Today marks the 65th anniversary of our great nation's independence. As we reflect on the significance of this day and our journey of nationhood since October 1960, when our founding fathers accepted the instrument of self-government from colonial rule. Let us remember that their sacrifice, devotion, and grand dream of a strong, prosperous, and united Nigeria that will lead Africa and be the beacon of light to the rest of the world. Our founding heroes and heroines, Herbert Macaulay, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Sir Amadu Bello, Margaret Epo, Anthony Enahoro, Ladoke Akintola, Michael Opara, Aminu Kano, Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, and other nationalists believed it was Nigeria's manifest destiny to lead the entire black race as the largest black nation on earth. For decades, the promise of our independence has been tested by profound social, economic, and political challenges, and we have survived. While we may not have achieved all the lofty dreams of our fathers.
All right, we've just listened to the president's speech, even if it is just it's a 27-minute speech dominated by the economy and what his administration has done in terms of reviving the economy. But let me ask you, at 65, what's your take?
Well,
what does it mean to you today?
Well, it comes with a lot of mixed feelings. We've seen Nigeria when it was at low ebb. We've seen Nigeria when it was growing as a growing nation. We see Nigeria when it was stable, and we see a troubled Nigeria that we are in today, and trying to pick up from the ruins of the insecurity we have been suffering, battling with for over a decade now. So in all, Nigeria can be seen as a country with its own unique features, a leader of Africa that is supposed to be that it has been before, and that now is grappling to remain on that seat, even with a lot of challenges too. But I think the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu administration needs to do more to get Nigeria back to its former seat as the leader of Africa.
Dr. Sani Aliyu, 2 years ago, we were discussing, Nigeria at 63, and we had a lot of hope that in another year, here we are 2 years after, that the challenges that we spoke, 2 years ago are still here, if not more compounded. But let me ask you, to the man in Kwali and the woman in Domboa, somewhere in Borno State, does Nigeria at 65 really means anything to them?
Unfortunately, it doesn't mean anything to them because before now, if we are looking at the economic aspect of Nigeria, the survival of the common man in Damboa and the survival of the common person in Bali is a lot of challenge today. The way the access to food, the access to healthcare, and even transportation is something way out of the question. That today you hardly can see a family that can feed for 3 square meals in a day, and you can hardly see a Nigerian that is good at traveling at any time he wants to travel. It becomes a very difficult task for him today or her. So it doesn't really mean those people at that level wouldn't know what it's all about Nigeria and 65 today.
So it means absolutely nothing.
It doesn't mean anything.
And they can't even internalize what the president is even saying.
They will not understand it.
Oh, okay.
Because whatever the president is saying today in terms of economic growth, it's like in a common Nigerian balance where the dog is in a party and the other dog came and met him and said, look, you are having a party in your house today. And the dog said, well, I wouldn't know if there is a party. He said, but see, there's a lot of people gathering in your house. He said, I only will understand what they are doing if I see my bone on the ground, then I'll know that there's party going on. But as it is now, I don't know whether they are partying. So it is like that. Whatever the president is talking about, does it relate to the common man out there in the villages, hamlets, and elsewhere in Nigeria? Even we in Abuja, even those.
Yes, and that's where I'm coming to. Right here in Abuja, where we're supposed to see the celebration everywhere, the government cancelled the parade. It became a low-key event, and that tells you the mood of the people and the country itself. That all is not well as far as the country is concerned.
Yes,
that the economic challenges are very, very huge, and the security challenges are also there.
If you will permit me to reflect just a few weeks back, during the NBA something, and this channel's television guy was asking those
lawyers
that whether is there any hope or renewed hope going on. They said no. They wouldn't understand. Even the people at that level wouldn't.
The so-called educated ones.
The so-called educated ones wouldn't understand what the government is doing. But we know Nigerians will have an attitude. Our attitude is fire brigade attitude. Do make I see now I want to resolve. But sometimes in economic building or in nation building, you may not understand what the government is doing at the time they are doing it. But given time, with time, you come to understand whether it is, when you are building, you need to lay a solid foundation before you start laying the blocks. But Nigerian sense is you want to see the building just erupted under one.
Dr. Sani, how much longer can people wait? The government is a continuum. An APC government took over power in 2015, accusing the PDP government of collapsing the economy, collapsing security, and they are coming in with the change mantra to fix the economy, fight corruption, restore security. 8 years down the line,
I remember.
Here we are, still talking about building.
I remember during former President, military President Babangida, his military council, where he was interviewed, he said, only God, even if God comes down to rule Nigeria, Nigerians will still complain. Now, if you want to look at the problem of Nigeria, it does not necessarily come during APC government. It's something that was building over time. And miracle cannot happen under maybe 5 years. Now look at Japan. Let's look at China. It took them 50 years to get to where they are.
So you want us to wait for another 50 years? We have waited for 65 years.
What we are saying is we used to have, if the character or the change is happening in terms of corruption fight, for instance, and the current government saw the need to fight corruption institutionally, remove all those gaps and those gaps that allow corruption to take places, and then they are closing it in. You will see some reaction. For instance, what is happening with Dangote refinery today and subsidy removal. You can see the Neyman, the Depot Owners Association fighting Dangote because of why? Because of those lapses, those leakages, that monies have been going out. Dangote, with the coming of Dangote refinery, is blocking them. So you can, if you want to understand the movement of this government, you will have to take a little bit time to understand what actually Tinubu is doing. I'm not supporting.
How much time do you need to understand how Tinubu works?
What I'm saying, where there is progress, we should identify there is progress there.
Okay.
And where there is problem, we should emphasize that there is problem there.
All right. At this point, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be joined with our other guests. Stay with us. Musa Rafsanjani. He's the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative and Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and also the head of Transparency International Nigeria. He will be talking to us how Nigeria is faring on the global stage. Are we taking our right step? Are we taking the center stage as we should? Malam Musa Rafsanjani, if you can hear me, a very good afternoon to you.
Yes, I can.
And happy 65 years Nigeria.
Thank you.
What does it mean to you exactly, Nigeria at 60?
It's a lot to me. First, it is that we reflect on how we got our independence, the challenges before us, the progress that we have made, and the expectation that is before both Nigerians, Africans, and international community on Nigeria, giving its relevance and size, population-wise, economy, and other variables that makes Nigeria to be what it makes. So it's a combination, it's a mixed combination of success and failure, as well as resilience to continue to advocate and expect things to happen positively in the country.
Okay. Let's go to our performance on the international stage and taking it from the last United Nations meeting. How would you assess our performance and what we are today?
To be honest to you, Nigeria, in terms of our performance in the last concluded General Assembly, is not what we should actually expect. We have seen countries that were far beyond Nigeria in the past, now coming to take a center stage in the United Nations in terms of its position, in terms of its relevance, in terms of its ability to navigate, negotiate, as well as be respected. We have seen a serious decline in terms of our status as the most famous African country.
Madam Rafsanjani, if you can hear me.
I can hear you very well.
Yes. Still on that, when you see countries like Ghana, you see countries like even Kenya, not to talk of South Africa, who has automatically taken the center stage, and today it is the voice of Africa and even the voice of developing countries across the globe. Shouldn't that be a source of concern for us as a country?
Absolutely, it's a concern to us, given the fact that in the past Nigeria has taken such kind of leading role in global affairs, regional affairs, and even within the country. But sadly, because of the decline in the leadership, because of the decline in the quality persons that are running the country, and because of lack of focus and strategic direction, we have been left behind. This is a very sad and realistic development that we cannot pretend not to be concerned with, as the country is seriously going down in the community of nations.
You were at the General Assembly meeting. You just came back this morning. What was our officials doing exactly at that meeting?
Well, I think most of our officials. They were talking to themselves, because into the United Nations, apart from the president, or the vice president that was representing the president, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and maybe the people, which is the Nigerian representative. These are usually the official people who representing the country and who are accredited to enter the United Nations. All other officials that you see in that place are people who are basically coming to do what they call tourism, because they are not even organizing any side event with anybody to attract investment. Most of the meeting they were doing has nothing to do with investment. It is simply a meeting that has to do with the, using the opportunity to go and squander that have nothing to do with discussing the United Nations really. But they have gone to do shopping. Some they have gone to do money laundering. So that's the situation. Even if you have a meeting that they say they are doing, you will see that 90% of the people are Nigerians. So why can't you talk to Nigerians inside Nigeria? So this is part of the challenge that we see.
Why were they not accredited to be,
because
part
the
of
United
the
Nations, the United Nations has a policy. They don't just accredit people anyhow. So it's not for everybody. You cannot just accredit people just like that.
And then we want beyond the numbers that is required. Is that what it means?
No, what I'm saying is that many of them, they are not. They have no business going to that conference because they have nothing to offer. They have nothing to do apart from just tourism and maybe perhaps using that opportunity to just engage in money laundering, and buying properties and doing shopping. That's what many of them are actually doing. It's not as if they have any fundamental thing to do, and if they have, we would have seen that they will be able to do that. But like I said, most of them, you see them just having meeting and talking to themselves as Nigerians, because you see ministers and governors talking to Nigerians there. So instead of talking to Nigerians, who equally travel to attend the UN meeting, side events, why can't they talk to Nigerians in Nigeria? Why must they travel all the way to America to come and be talking to the same Nigerians who travel for that meeting? Because 99% of the meetings are attended by Nigerians, organized by Nigerians.
Okay.
So what kind of meeting are you doing? The so-called investment forum that they organize, there's nothing like investment. Some of them are just scammers in the name of investors. They are not investing anything. So to be honest to you, it's only in Nigeria that you see them organizing these several event meetings. Nigerian officials organize these several side event meetings that have not got to do anything with any serious thing.
Manuel Rafsanjani, when our president, who was represented by the VP, spoke at the United Nations, General Assembly, what is the perception, what is the reaction of, the other people who watched him there?
No, because the issue that
as it should.
The issue that other presidents of Africa have spoken and they have, the show. In other words, they perform so wonderfully that Nigerian president was really anything different. The president of South Africa, the president of Kenya, the president of Ghana, they have spoken very well before the president of Nigeria. So therefore, there was anything specific or new that the Nigerian president have mentioned that will make difference from what previous speakers have spoken. And this is also part of the challenge because Nigeria spoke almost in the night when many countries have spoken and left. And then another thing that I just also draw our attention, other countries when their president makes their own statement, they immediately leave the country. But in our own case, our official, they will go and stay for 1 week, for 5 days, just wasting taxpayers' money. We have seen so many presidents, immediately they deliver their speech at the UN. They have finished with the UN, they will leave the UN and New York back to their countries. But in our own case, our official will remain there doing virtually personal engagement, but really there's nothing really to see tangibly that they are doing, because like I said, the audience of the people they are meeting with, 99% of them are Nigerians. So they also travel from Nigeria, not that Nigerians in diaspora, they largely with Nigerians travel to that same meeting. So which for me, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Mana Awal, if you said the president didn't ring a bell, immediately after that speech, the U.S. media came up with the allegation that there's a genocide against Christians in Nigeria. So what really happened?
No, this campaign of calumny against Nigeria has been going on for in the last 10 years. And it's so sad that we at civil society, we try to draw the attention of the government then during Buhari to ensure that there's alternative sources to this information that is going on. The American embassy in Nigeria, they know that there's no any genocide against any particular religion in Nigeria, because Nigeria is not having a Christian Muslim violence. What you even see, you will find within the Islam, some people who claim to be Muslim, they kill Muslim more and more. As you are doing that meeting in the UN, we saw some people who have been killed in the mosques in Zamfara and in Katsina. This did not happen in the church, but it happens within the Muslim community. So the inability of the government to get credible voice that will also give alternative or counter narrative is what has happened. This is just to show you the decline in the Nigeria response to issues, and because you have people who are complicit in the within the government, so they are happy to a particular religion in such kind of forum. But in my own capacity as a civil society, as a patriotic Nigerians, I always try to correct that impression in the global community, to mention that yes, we have violence conflicts by so many groups in Nigeria, whether in the north or in the south, whether within Christians, but it's not a fight between Muslim and Christians. That is just to correct that impression. Because anybody who is coming with such kind of impression is not being fair, is not being honest with the situation in Nigeria. And because the decline in our diplomatic response, that is why you are seeing this. Nigeria has no ambassador. That's why we are not serious. No permanent representative. We don't have ambassador anywhere in the world. So this is part of the reason why we will never be taken serious. If you have an ambassador, the ambassador would have helped to correct, counter such kind of negative and deliberate narration to cause trouble in Nigeria. But we are concerned with the killings of Nigerians, irrespective of whether Muslim or Christians, in Nigeria, and we have been talking about it, and we are asking government to make sure that the responsibility of protecting lives and properties of Nigerians, irrespective of what identity that person is.
Okay, as we wrap up on your own part, the fight against corruption, the big masquerade in the room, the one you've been on for decades. How would you assess the fight against corruption under this administration?
Well, I think this government did not come to say that they want to fight corruption, so therefore they have not come to tell the whole world that they want to fight corruption. There was only one incident where the president said that he's fighting corruption, but I think that was just a statement that nobody has taken that statement serious, given the way and manner in which the country corruption different, especially at the state level. The kind of corruption that is going on at the state level is unimaginable, and you cannot fight against corruption only in the federal level. You must also extend the fight against corruption in local government, in the state, and in every aspect of our institutions.
All right. Awal Ibrahim Musa Rafsanjani, Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, you have heard Rafsanjani, speaks. But let me welcome our second guest to the studio, even though he came late and he said we made him climb up to the 11th floor. Let me welcome Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. He is a member of the Federal College of Education as well as a public analyst. Malam Abubakar, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good to have me this afternoon.
Okay. All right. So Nigeria at 65. What does it mean to you? Before I make you react to Rafsanjani's, comments and submissions.
Nigeria at 65. It's a journey of mixed feelings. First, it's a day we celebrate the day that Nigeria actually got to stand on itself. So it's remarkable for history. And for the journey so far, how we started, the twist from 1960 to 63, the kind of government we operate, to where we are, we'll say we've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. But in a more sincere analysis, structurally, developmental-wise and all, we wouldn't score ourselves less than B, which is in the region of 55 to 60. And where we get it all wrong is uncertainty in the leadership and the style of leadership and discontinued programs right from inception till date.
Okay, so before we go to that, yesterday you told me you are in Kwali. So the man in Kwali, as we speak today, does Nigeria at 65 means anything to him?
It does actually, because
the man who is going to the farm, who wakes up this morning to go to the farm.
Does he even
know that Nigeria is 65 today?
Yeah, he does, because with the FCT, we're lucky in the 774 local government. The 6 to an extent reasonably are excluded in the analysis of whether the common man at the third floor, which is the local government administration, is a little bit felt, because these are where their resources are allocated directly from the allocations of the government coffers. So to an extent, they have a direct impact of government. And again, maybe we got lucky because the FCT don't have a governor. So we have the president who always stand in as the governor of FCT according to the constitution provision, though supervised by the minister. So we directly get lucky on some of the things. So people at my locality, to an extent, because the president have been in 2 or 3 of the local government, so they can
they are right in the center.
They can say, yes, we know that there is a developmental stride they have been, and the chairman, to an extent, for those that are doing, they are doing. But if you take out the 6 area council and tell me what about the 600 and rest, I'll tell you that they are disconnected to the reality. I could take from the Malam Rafsanjani
submission,
and saying that the bad shape of Nigeria, the analysis have never favored is when you come and analyze Nigeria, disconnecting the federation, that it's a federating unit that have a trickle-down effect from the federal
to the state and to the local government.
And what is more important in our analysis, in that Malam Rafsanjani didn't say so clearly, is that despite people shout of this administration, it has a triple effect of the former allocations, but nobody have asked any state what has it been doing with its fund from the normal, supposedly maintained level of allocations. So when you have such and you have a disconnected area where governors can stay and act like they are on their own, they are alpha.
But somebody has to bring the governors to order. Yes, but before we go into that, let me go to Dr. Aliu. Dr. Aliu, you have heard the submission of Rafsanjani. When you watch the last United Nations General Assembly, you look at the quality of presentation. I was particularly thrilled by the president of Kenya, Ruto, who said, Secretary General, Africa doesn't have a permanent representative seat, and if this is not addressed, 50-something number of African countries would pull out of the United. That's a bold move for somebody after Robert Mugabe. Nobody has, talked to, the Secretary General in that manner, especially from Africa. You look at a country like Ghana, not to talk of South Africa, that has been on, giving it as it is. Would you say that would you agree with Rafsanjani that we just went there for shopping?
Well, he was there himself. He
just came back this morning, yeah.
He saw it himself. I am in Nigeria. I didn't see what is going on there. So whatever he's giving us is first-hand information. But it's very unfortunate that we have come to become what we are like this today. Like he said, Nigeria has always been taking the center page in terms of African affairs, leadership, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, because of our leadership derailment, we have found ourselves where we are today. That we don't even, we are almost lacking voice in Africa before the United Nations appear. So, but how did we get to this place? How did we get it wrong like this? What is happening to us? These are questions that our leadership should take as a challenge.
Didn't our derailment at the center stage even started from ECOWAS? For us not being able to deal with the Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, these countries that, were taken over by military rule, and we're not even being able to, get them to the table diplomatically to settle the issue. So our downfall started with the ECOWAS itself.
Of course, because of us. You may relate that to the sympathy or with the patronage our leader is having with the French government. Because what is happening is a place where you have a friend, and that friend is very dear to you and close to you, and then that your friend is surcharging your own brothers, your own blood brothers, and you couldn't fight your friend because of the relationship between you and your friend. You could not show your support to your brothers because you are afraid.
So you preferred your friend to your brothers?
Yes, that is what is happening. That is exactly what I see from my own candid opinion. That our president was not too sympathetic with the plight of the Niger, the Burkina, and other the Malian people, and then because of his friendship with Macron also. This is my own opinion, and I think we should take Africa for once to be our main pride, and then we should, for any reason or purposes, we should not neglect the plight of our brother, because Nigeria has always been on the driver's seat. Nigeria has participated in quelling a lot of troubles in other African states. Nigeria has helped South Africa to gain its independence, spend our resources, we lost our lives, spring prizes to make sure there's sustainable democracy and good governance in these countries. But today, Nigeria is taking the back seat. Maybe, I don't know, because of this hydra-headed thing called corruption. I think that is one of our major problems. So we have, because of that, we are losing what is called patriotism. We are not patriotic to our own country to the extent that we start looking at Africa as that Pan-African patriotism space, So I think we are getting it very, very wrong. Even from the stability in our country, you can imagine.
Yes, we'll come to the security where that's your own field. If you listen to the president's speech today, it's more on the economy. I think security is just one or two, paragraph. But if you look at the economy today, economy is money in my pocket, money in your pocket, money in Dr. Aliu's pocket. It's not about the statistics that is being reeled out, the GDP growth that has no connection with the reality on the ground. He said in his speech that he inherited a near collapsed economy. Isn't that like calling kettle black? Because the same way he inherited it from another APC president, not a PDP president.
Let me start from telling you I'm being fortunate to be part of the town hall meeting that the last administration had before Buhari in 2014-15 in Lagos, when Okonjo-Iweala and Sanusi Lamido, Sanusi and Lisma Dikwe were discussing the timeline and the bomb we were about to see, even heading out to 2015. As of then, that was when I know it was quite alarming that the situation in Nigeria, I could quote vividly when Sanusi said, if the way the trickle, the derivation and in the graph, if it continues at that manner, it will get to a level that Nigeria cannot even sustain.
But I thought that was what the APC came to solve.
No, let's be honest. You know when.
No. It's because you know why I'm jumping in here, because we knew the situation in 2014.
Yeah.
We know the situation in 2015. In 2014, when people, collectively, in 2015, when people collectively voted the PDP out, it was because of mismanagement of the economy, the corruption, the alarming insecurity. And APC came as a rescuer, came in to say, no, PDP has failed you. We have come to fix it. We are how many years now? Is it 10 years? 10 years of APC now.
Sure
and here we are still taking us back to the PDP government.
I just want, the issue of analyzing economy doesn't come in a short time, because even the short time planning, economic planning is 12, 15 years. It's not 4 or 5 years.
But we're already 10 years.
No, I'm just saying, you don't build a history around economy without connecting them. But whichever way, where we are at the moment, the global trend that hits in those years, you could still say that the world inflation rate is in the range of 13 to 17%. Constant all over the world.
13 to 17.
Yeah.
Some less than 1.
So obviously, for what we are and what we do, if you take that percentage and put them in Nigeria, where we have it all wrong is our reservations and our accounts to business is still in the currency that is not ours. And whatever that you have, the translation of whatever that it's the effect that the trickle, even when last 2-3 weeks, it's become an issue of argument if Nigeria had borrowed up to 153 trillion as the borrowing that is on Nigeria so far, on whatever they have gathered and how they have arrived at where we are. It becomes that what was it used for? What is the debt management office all about? If you check all of this and you see the tendency of where pile up from, a jury, part of the things that made him left was the fact that he has connected being an economic analyst before joining the government, being the spokesperson of the government. He got to a level where he feels that there was nothing genuinely he could say continuously, because the common man don't want to understand that a problem that is not built today will not be concluded today.
Let me jump in so that you can add it up to your solution. Because if you say
development plans Nigeria have always have, which is the basis of economic building and things that a government or the country tend to achieve regardless of government, has always collapsed as a result of backing from the deficits of the previous national development plan. You could check them, and they have never been national development plan that did not go in this country history. And they are the ones that the economic planning ministry are meant to do justice to what is it collectively that we know that has been gathering where we are. At the moment, okay, stop collecting borrowing. States, generate your IGR internally, bring to the coffers of government so it determine what you get as your allocation. I think if these things will bear fruit, I think I was in a program in DW and I told them on African economy, I told them that if the analysis of people coming to say we'll supersede our expectations for budget of this year via IGR, and the president made proclamation on that, then it's really that we are where we will hold the country or the leadership of the country at the moment that, okay, since you started, how systematically did you say we have achieved? Because states have, like Kebbi, can come and say we have presented so because they're among the awardees of the best performing revenue turnout. And for all of the indices that keep coming, the generation, the tax investigation that is coming up, all of these things are built up to where and how is the economy carried on? And
No. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
The economy went wrong because we signed our own debt sentence with IMF and World Bank. We continued to borrow IMF. We continue to take IMF loan. We continue to take World Bank loans, and those loans comes with very strangulating conditions all over the world. For developing countries, IMF and World Bank loans, they have never developed any economy. They have, in fact, destroyed most of the economies and the environment. Now, fast forward to this government. In 2023, the president boldly removed subsidy.
Yeah.
That was an IMF and World Bank decision for him to remove it, and he has to remove it, and he removed it. He said the subsidy, I mean,
there was no constitution. There was no budget.
There was no budget one, and that the money they are going to get from, removal of subsidy will be one that, will be invested in development, and more states are getting more allocation as we speak today. Then why are you borrowing? The amount of money that was borrowed in the last 2 years is double of the 8 years of Buhari, who borrows money to pay subsidy.
No, servicing subsidy.
And now here we are even servicing debt.
Obviously,
We are borrowing to service debt. That's what we are doing today.
we're borrowing, we're collecting to service debt.
We are borrowing to service debt, not collecting. We are borrowing to service
When you
debt.
said borrowing, from where are we borrowing to service debt?
You are borrowing this from here and you are servicing here.
Most of the issues that has to do with all of this, like I said, that's why when you said you disagree or you agree, you let me make my agreement, because we agree to disagree and we disagree to agree. But on these issues, we will talk to our opinion. 1,000 Nigerians have different opinions.
Of course.
That nobody buy in with every. But one thing I said about Nigerian economy is like setting up a business of your own. Then you start for a year, knowing that, let's assume you have a Waina business, which you started with 100,000. Then in 10 years, you come to say, okay, for whatever reasons and whatever the plus and minus you have on the Waina business has no effect to what your 10 years is going to be, because then you will be talking in millions, not in 100, if it's blessed without the deficit. And that's the case of Nigeria, because unfortunately Nigeria used to have a mono economy where it's a total dependence on one aspect. For the first time, we're having to say, okay, we're doing diversification of all of this economy, and most of this money that comes in, Medina, it's more of money that it's defined with what is coming to serve. Like when they went to Delhi, the money borrowed then was given for particular functions. Money don't come like they borrow you on it. If you said IMF and World Bank, our problem. The same thing with the United Nations. UN before now, even when you said someone has made a bold step, somebody like Abacha before now had moved out of it because he felt there was nothing coming to the country. It's a politics of, if you are in the business and we don't benefit anything, it's a world politics that is going. Just like it starts in no peace, so there must not be peace, so that we can say we are helping them. But no states of the country is actually interested in your growth. What's the only lapses they have or they allow you to do? That's the neocolonialism that we refuse to have. Till date, that we still have a connect and we feel like, even in Nigeria, for you to save money, you feel safe to save it in dollars than saving it in naira. Because the mentality is there, and that is with our economy. Somebody is building house in Nigeria and telling you that how much dollar is it? It has got that bad that you buy blocks in a country, in a Turkish block.
And who should be blamed for that?
The system. That is never there.
Okay, Dr. Aliu, before we came, you were saying, almost towing his own kind of line of thought. You said it's going to take time for people to build nations, to build policies, to build economy. And I asked you, do people have that patience? Do people have time after 16 years of a PDP government, which everybody said mismanagement, corruption, and all of that. And then another 10 years of super suffering.
Well, the Nigerian case is a very complicated one, that when you are trying to solve this one, this other one is opening up again. So it's a situation where, for instance, during the last government of Muhammadu Buhari, they said no more importation of foodstuff and what is well.
Yes.
We must survive ourselves.
That's where we saw real diversification in the agricultural sector.
So we saw the diversification, and we never die. People who may say, as we are saying, Nigeria is not able to survive, we survive it, and we saw actual production coming in from this country. So we need a leadership that has that political will to dance all consequences and take certain bold steps for the good of the country. So when you are looking at Tinubu's government, you will see Tinubu's government came with its own different policy. Of course, they are the same APC, but from his own aspect of economic development, he's looking at institutional, like I said, tidying up the institutional loose ends here and there, and then building on the gains of such the connection. So if, as an ordinary Nigerian on the street, you will not, like my colleague said, you will not readily see it now. When you are building something, you are building for the future. You are not. You may take the pains now, but how will you look at this tax reform that is going on, for instance, now? Now, for the first time, we are reconnecting all our revenue, changing the face of our revenue collection system. And then, what NNPC, the misbehavior that is going on in NNPC, because they are collecting, the misbehavior that's going on in custom because they are collection. Now they say, no, you must collect, and you are not producing anything. So let the person that you give that responsibility, the federal inland revenue collection should collect for custom, should collect from for all those people that are the institutions that you are collecting. Now let's centralize it. Let collection so that it will be easier managed. It is a new thing happening now. So we will not start saying we must see the result today. It is something that
let me just tell you what the president said in his speech. He said our tax to GDP ratio has risen to 13.5% from less than 10%. The ratio is expected to increase further when the new tax law takes effect in January 2026. And the tax law is not about increasing the burden on existing taxpayers, but it's about expanding ways to build Nigeria that we deserve, providing tax relief to low-income Nigerians. He also said that we are now a net exporter. Nigeria has recorded a trade surplus for 5 consecutive quarters. We are now selling more to the world than buying, a fundamental shift that has strengthened our currency and creates jobs at home. Nigeria trade surplus increased by 44.3% in the second quarter of 2025 to 7.46 trillion naira, the largest so far. These are figures that are being bandied by the president in his speech. But when we come to the reality on ground, I'm talking to you because
for the first time we have seen a Dangote refinery exporting PMS to United States of America, bringing in.
But the Dangote refinery didn't start today.
No, what you are saying is
that's a private business. It's not a government business.
Whatever you look at it, that's where we are getting it from. Dangote refinery is a Nigerian company based in Nigeria.
A private Nigerian company.
Based in Nigeria.
Yes.
Whatever income he gets from America, from other European countries, comes to this country. And that's why we are now seeing the stability in our dollar. Earlier you buy dollar 1,500 today, by tomorrow it's 1,700. But for the first time, I want to change dollar. Was it yesterday or so? I changed it for 1,476 naira, which shows that there's a lot of stability in our and you cannot get that unless you are exporting. Why our naira becomes weak was because there was no any exportation going. We were not producing, we were not selling anything. So when you start seeing trade balance, you start seeing the stability in your currency. So I 100% agree with what the president is saying, that these policies have started
yielding results. Okay.
So we don't need to say we want to see everything, Nigeria, everything is good.
Okay, so how long is it going to take for people to see the results?
We have seen China, it took China 50 years. So if Nigeria can...
So 50 years plus this our present age would have died before...
No problem, but we are looking for the future of this country, for our children to benefit, so that we will have a country called Nigeria. The way we were going before, we will have gone and live a country not for our children.
Sure. Because, just to add up to what he said, I think when we used to differentiate in analysis that it is basic when we are analyzing economy and also placing the standard of living. They are two totally different things. Where it has what do the common man benefits from a system. Sometimes it is often referred as, when they say the economic issues, that has to do with whatever the analysis at the top of the percentage is actually a ratio that if you're not even in the cycle where you know what is coming in and what is put together, the only person that can give you is the CBN governor through the president, which is rightly saying. And like you said, I said something that one of the reasons why we got a bit flopped till issue of the borrowing and whatever that we have as the deficit.
Do you support the borrowing?
No, it's not. It's never been useful. We can sustain inward
without borrowing.
Yeah, we can. We can because we've done that before. Now we build all of the things that we
had.
Even when we said we did, we started with the granite pyramid, the cocoa. All of those things were contributor in highest number of GDP as of what it did. The cotton, the cocoa, the palm oil. So obviously, for those aside, but what we're saying on this analysis now, I feel the president is trying to do something right. And that is why a lot of things are not totally going in the favor. Even in the Nigerian Elites Forum, he's the only one that has stand alone. And I feel like if you stand alone in this country, it means because you're trying to correct lots of wrongs that have already happened. Like he used to say, he is nobody's God's son. As such, he could take decisions that he could take, even when it hits us. And I, for one, took time to check off his manifesto when he said it's a journey for a renewal, because we have lost hope in the country or the entity Nigeria itself. Everybody.
Do we have hope now?
That is where it said it's a renewed hope. If we're still doubting the hope, then we're not anticipating anything. But it's because of hope that the poor man dying believing that one day it will be better. But if we continue on the trajectory that we are in Nigeria is a business of a collective interest. Why you get paid man-hour rate in the US and UK that our models is because you contribute at the end of the quarter and you give a percentage of work rate that add up to developmental stride. Have you asked yourself what the public servant, who are generally a systematic body that is supposed to enshrine, regardless of whether there is change of government, who comes and stay for 8 years and not, what are they doing? Have you ever summoned a like a summit to ask permanent secretaries, directors of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what have you been doing with your parastatals ministries? What have they done differently to put something on it? You don't expect money from the central government without giving applause to what you can offer. It goes down to tell you the number of standard of people that are filled in different ministries to give a return, because It has always been a
I want to ask you, gentlemen, you talked about sustaining a policy, you talked about time to build and time to reap and all of that. When you have very strangulating economic policies, very strangulating ones, the ones that take more from the poor to give to the rich, even the tax policy itself that the president is talking about is going to take more money from the poor. Yesterday, in an interview, the tax chairman who came up with this tax reform, he was saying that even runs girls who do, I don't want to say, but who do their own side hustle will have to, has it gotten to that level where we have to strangulate people further just because we want to build a sustainable economy?
Can I intervene and say, do you know the tax compliance ratio in Nigeria is 27 to 34?
Yes, I know.
Out of the total number of population.
But dominated by the poor people.
If the tax compliance in this country is just that, how well do you want to place yourself in a generation of a tax?
But you and I know that tax have never developed countries. Higher tax have never developed countries.
They have never developed countries. They have been a way in the service delivery to the people because that is the rate at which they pay. And that is why when you go on issues that are not internally, what you generate determine what you even give. How many states?
But we said we are generating more now, isn't it?
That is what we're saying. But I have said that you can check it for facts that there have never been government that have been too intentional with developmental allocations. These allocations defines the developmental.
Let's even go to the so-called developmental initiatives. Let's even go to infrastructure. As we speak today, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has not been completed. The Kogi-Lokoja Road is still there. The Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. I came from Zaria just last week.
From Kweli?
Let me just land. I came from Zaria. I went by road and I came back by road. The roads from from Abuja to Kaduna is horrible. If there is anything more than horrible, that's what that road is. And this was a road that was awarded in 2016. 9 years down the line, that road has not been completed. The same thing with the Lokoja and Abuja road. So when you say infrastructure, we borrowed money, we generated so much money, we have put so much money in infrastructure, the question will be, where is this money going to? If this money cannot even address critical infrastructure that connects us.
It's very sad, truly speaking, regarding those aspects, because I traveled to Okene recently and I saw the project. Of course, it's ongoing, but it's very slow. Even the Kaduna, the Abuja-Kaduna road we are talking about, it's very slow, but it's ongoing. You could still see their equipment, they are touching some areas, working very slowly in some other areas. I think it has the problem of supervision. I think the Minister of Works is not doing what he's supposed to do. He only allowed himself on television, but with no any serious supervision. If JP, Julius Berger, are giving that contract from Abuja to Kaduna, and they are not doing it, why can't you fire them and bring a new?
They have revoked the contract with Julius Berger, and they've given it to somebody else.
No, they didn't.
They want the Kaduna.
They took them to court. That's the issue that we're building on. But on a very sincere note.
No, I'm going to come. Let me. Before you start building on his own, you talked about accountability. You said nobody holds the state. Nobody asks the state governors what they do with their allocation. Nobody asks the local government chairman what they do with their allocation. Now let's go back to the local government autonomy. President late Muhammad Buhari of blessed memory even said it openly that the biggest problem is the governors who are strangulating local government, and he even went to present an executive to assent to it. When this president came, he also told Tala, he even took them to court. As we speak today, no autonomy at the local government level. The governors are the ones who still determine who becomes a chairman or who doesn't become a chairman. So the bulk of the development is in the local government, where you have 774 local government. Now you don't have autonomy in those local government. The president is not calling the governors to order to say, I want this autonomy to work. So who is going to ask the governors for accountability?
You see, the problem of Nigeria is like the problem of the politics. So the quality of life in Nigeria is our politicians, and how we take to trade it is what we can say openly. But still, the problem is still the solutions. What I said is that if you choose to allow the president is being cautious. I will use that word with the governors, not because he cannot summon them. He has tried to summon them. Do you know the crisis that comes with even the pronouncement that the Supreme Court did, that the autonomy being given that phase? But unfortunately, even if it was allowed by the court, it's something that, because it has a legal framework in every state, it has to be subjected to a House of Assembly of all of the states. So by the time you still take them, not like that, when the president assigned it, late Muhammad Buhari assigned it to bill, the next thing was to go only 3 House of Assembly passed it. The rest.
If the president can boldly remove fuel subsidy on his first speech, he can boldly ensure that there's autonomy.
Everybody is the chief executive of the state. So the moment it's least,
but they all belong to the same party.
No, that's because it's a federation account. It doesn't. They don't belong to the same party. That's the
majority of them belong to the. We have about 20-something governors.
Every governor is entitled to himself. One thing I know that we're getting to that hope where it will come to a stand that they will stop you and your state and ask you, Chairman, we have the bill, because every allocation is made public. So every indigene or every intentional participant in the democratic growth will ask questions, even if it comes with the normals. It has never been easy for you to challenge the system. But trust me, if people are to be blamed in this system failure, to me, I'll tell you 101 times that it's the governors that still commands and deals with Nigeria. And like I said, it's a federating unit. The moment it's discharged from the top, it allows the states to take charge of the more local entity that is supposed to be under them. And for such doing, he feels like, okay, now you're the chief executive. But I feel like he will still put them to order, because there will be a time that you will be asked. And at that time, I'm expecting it soonest that the president will summon all of the governors and tell them, we've done this to your state. What have you done to the other state? And then they will now understand what role the commissioners of local government affairs plays in their state, and chieftaincy affairs, because not just local government, including chieftaincy, if there are provisions in the cycle that it's done, then they will now know what the chief accountant generals of states are becoming, and the role that they keep playing now that they are mostly, every chief accountant of his state is a possible next governor of his state, as the system is. So that is to tell you the build up to where the corruptions and where it's happening. It has gone around the local government affairs and the chief accountant of a state. And that is what is going on. That has to be breaking before the next election. I pray and hope that the governor will know, the president will call them to order and say, you bring your chief accountant general and the local government affairs. Let's check them.
From our own perspective, we have an institutional problem starting from the political parties, where earlier in Nigeria, the chairman of a political party has the right to summon the president of the nation and say, you are not doing well. This is not our manifesto, and this it will not agree with what you are doing.
And that was the question I was coming to. Why is it that political parties don't even respect their own manifesto? The one they produced themselves, nobody gave it to them. They produced it themselves.
Because the chairman of the political party in Nigeria is the working tool of the president of the country. When the president used to be under the summonship of the political party chairman, the party chairman has the right to call the president to order at any given time and bring him to one situation. If you don't do this, don't do it according to our party manifesto, we will tell the assembly that we are not working, and then we start instituting the process of your removal. Now, that is when the political institution was strong. We could see Shagari's time, when the party chairman then will someone Shagari even at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and he will leave where he is and come and see the chairman. But today, can the APC chairman summon the president to come to his house? He cannot.
So what happened?
Obasanjo, unfortunately, our mention me is clear.
Okay.
I'm in Nigeria. I'm entitled to say this is where.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, of course.
Obasanjo weaken the institution and balkanize it. And
then why must we follow? Why must we follow?
That it will take a very serious political way to get this thing right, because it gives the president the advantage. The president are enjoying it.
Sure.
Political party champ today. What happened in APC? The president of the nation has the right to pick a chairman and say this is the person we want to become the chairman of the party.
Without a convention.
Without a convention, so we must go back and strengthen our political parties if we want the political governance or democracy to work in this country. Because as it is now, everybody is a master of his own. The president doesn't have that power to deal with the state government, because the state government is equally a chief executive of the state as well as the president is the chief executive of the state of the nation. So everybody has the right to say, look, now you can call it a bluff, and because there is no any stringent laws or rules that give that power to the president, or the party doesn't have even that power to challenge. If the party has that power to deal with the president, then who is the state government of the party that will not work according to the dictate of the party? So the party is completely weak. We only have names as political parties, but they are not strong institutions again.
Okay. I want to continue in 30 seconds. Before I go to security, does APC have a chairman?
Yeah, we do.
A real chairman?
Yeah, we do. With the absence of the convention, the National Working Executive Council and National NWC can unanimously, because it's a party constitution. Unfortunately, he just said something. The structure at which leaders are produced are weak. And they used to say party is supreme. But party has become like a vehicle to convey someone to his achievement of goals. As the party is, the last time it held convention was the one that brought, what's his name? Not even Ganduje. Abdullah Adamu. That was the convention that brought him. From that, it keeps up. Nothing has come. The constitution itself that gives all the 36 state chairmen, it will interest you to know that most of them have stayed almost as old as the party number, and even against the constitution of the party that even empowered them to 8 years in office. So this is where it's even contradicts its own process of internal policy. Are
you proud with the APC as a member that you cannot even obey or respect your manifesto?
No, it's not even about manifesto. You know, the party constitutions, we don't know the constitution of the Nigerian constitution is not too particular about the strength of the party itself. So if it's wrong, to me, I feel like it's wrong on a bylaw. It's a law that it's made within some selected few. Whether I'm proud to be, yeah, because the name is progressive, and where we are at the moment, we are actually on a Renew Hope agenda. If where we are at the moment will sanitize from now to December as intended to have a convention, there's nothing wrong with the system that have gone this way, because for opposition, for even parties that have stayed with lots of capacities in funds and all for 16 years could not stand opposition for 4 years, 8 years, and that's where we are at the moment. It's quite unfortunate, Hajar Medina, that at now the national scale of analysis, there's no opposition in Nigeria.
And that's what I'm coming to.
Everyone is going.
That's what I'm coming, because APC has succeeded in killing opposition in Nigeria. Yes, of course, that's what it is. Yeah, the president who said he's a Democrat. No, hold on. The president who said he's a Democrat. From 1999 till date, he had an opportunity today to become the president of Nigeria, and he's sponsoring his agents to kill political parties. Yes, the minister of the FCT is a I will land first. The minister of the FCT is a member of the PDP. and he's working for the APC, and he's been used to destroy the PDP. Today, as we speak, every political party has a problem with being engineered and sponsored by the ruling APC.
Well, you see, whatever that it is, for me, politics is never politics if they are not intrigues of making instability for you. We build our manifestos. We started from 2003, from APP to AMPP to CPC to APC, then we produce a president. We never drill. We were.
I'm going to come back. I want to round up on this one so that I can take the issue of security. But I'm going to ask you for my closing. If democracy is the kind of government we should, if democracy has worked for us, considering all of the lapses that it has. But then let's go to security in the next 2 minutes. While we celebrate happy 65, happy independence, some people have been kidnapped, some have been killed, some have been, their cattle have been rustled, and some are right there in the bush. Gentlemen, Nigeria at 65, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, even Borno that has a little bit of stability some time ago, the crises are back.
So what do you want us to do?
Yeah, what I wanted to do is that, isn't it a sad, situation at 65, and insecurity is growing
We should not,
by the day?
We should not isolate insecurity to Nigeria alone. It's a global menace.
But ours is worse.
What is happening in America in a day, in the whole year of Nigeria, we doesn't have such an insecurity situation. What we do in this country.
But people are not kidnapped in America in mass and marched to the forest.
Every blessed second, 1 minute, 1 second in Nigeria, a life is taken by insecurity and a kidnap has happened. Every 1 second in America. If you don't know, you go and check it out. But you see, what we do in this country is to come to the national television, media station, and start blowing at our own situation, our own problem.
So we should keep quiet?
The issue is, it's not about keeping quiet, it's about how best we can manage our situation. If you look at the statistics of insecurity going by the Global Terrorism Index, you will see, of course, Nigeria, at the time of the first 8 years of APC, we, from third most terrorized nation in the world, we became down to 8th most terrorized nation, which was a very good sign of shift in the balance, that we are progressing in terms of managing our insecurity situation in the country. Of course, recently we are falling back again to 6th position. So we now look at what were those things that we were doing earlier that we couldn't do, that we brings out, it's turning us back to where we are coming from, and then we start seeing how we are going to close up the gap. The truth is that given by the serious insecurity situation and the records out there, you will see that Nigeria has not taken a very immense stride, a particular stride that will actually manage this situation. If Nigeria was one time third most terrorized country in the world, what was the strategy? What was the step? What did we do to make sure that we are out of this institution?
So there is no sustainability of strategy.
There is no sustainability
as far as fighting insecurity is concerned.
Because there is no any institution that is mandated by the Constitution of Nigeria to manage or to counter terrorism by itself. We left it open for. So
if you are going to recommend, what institution will you?
We must, and the president has no alternative. If we want to get out of this situation, the president must write an executive bill to the National Assembly for the creation of a counter-terrorism agency mandated by the Constitution to manage and counter terrorism in Nigeria, which the president will have the right to hire or fire the leadership because of non-performance. But today, whatever that happened, the president has no any institution on ground that he will punish. If Zamfara is under attack today, the president cannot say chief of defense staff go. He cannot say chief of army go, because why? That is not the constitutional mandate of the military. Their constitutional mandate is to protect the territorial integrity of the nation. The police to maintain peace and order. it's not their core service or core calling to counter terrorism. There's not any sort of agency in the country that is having that constitutional mandate to counter terrorism. And that is why Africa, the Chief of Defense Staff went to take a poster recently and call on what is called African Nations Chief of Staff meeting in Nigeria, that what they were able to achieve there is to create what is called counter-terrorism brigade. Because today, as it is in the whole of Africa, I will tell you boldly that there is no such agency that has that capacity mandate to fight to counter terrorism. But you collapse what they call a task force.
Okay.
You join task force, you bring it, and it's not working. We have seen when Brutel was the chief of army, what they were able to do with Chad, with Cameroon, and Niger. They were able to fight this terrorism to a particular level.
There was a collaboration. And synergy. Yeah.
So, and it's sort of a temporary situation.
Okay, so let me ask you, with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, even Chad, almost out of ECOWAS, no more relationship, brotherhood relationship, and we want to create a synergy, a collaboration to fight security. How will you achieve any success?
I was about saying,
because just a few days ago, the Niger Mali said they're going to publish names of Nigerians who sponsor insecurity and banditry. Yes, they're going to publish names of Nigerians who do that. So if they on their own are also coming up with that means we don't have any collaboration with them.
Yeah, obviously for some reasons I want to say, we in lots of in counter-terrorism or terrorism booklets of life, I think what they put, you can never strike without a leaking border, because the terrorists itself don't sustain in a country, but it's flew between borders. And if that is the case, if there's a borderline between where terrorists could be caught in Lokoja and you hear he's not even a Nigerian, then you know that is actually porous. It's a good one that they have actually come with that, because
I think that will help us.
In the late memories where it's decided if terrorism suffice 24 hours, definitely there are hands from within. So we're not suspecting that. And for what he said, most of even if there are creations of many counter-terrorist units, it's nobody's functions. And that's why every service chief will tell you that in his own functions to serve whatever he does, it's not allowed. He has limitations to what he can do because the Constitution has given him his mandate of operational times. But those borders that we're saying that had already been taken by event because of their situations and they are doing well. People from Sokoto will tell you how porous their border is.
We've been talking about border porous and all of that for many, many years. So what happened to technology?
1,050 Nigerian borders are unmanned. So what are you talking about?
The border between Iran, Afghanistan, and Azerbaijan is 1,500. And when the last crisis happened, they were able to use, technology, to be able to root out the people who sabotaged them. So what happened to technology? What happened to drones that are very, very cheap? What happens to all of that?
Like I said, so we're
talking about borders, but there are people that have bigger borders than us.
In every of this analysis, to be honest, I used to say I don't like putting myself in the security analysis because we've gotten to a time that we know that we were in this country where a service chief serving died mysteriously. That's a bad level of it. Regardless of what and how Atahiru died, it's another thing entirely. But let me also led is that.
But let me quickly ask you this question. The huge amount of money that we budget for security every year, the trillions of naira, do you think that is the recipe for the continuous insecurity that we have?
I might lend my teen voice on this, not to be very certain about it, but like I said, a monkey look like human being, and you can say that again and again, even if it looks like the right and right human. But obviously, there are some persons that choose not to leave Burma, and
For strategic reasons.
for whatever reasons,
Yeah.
and they are taking over the market, even from the local and native, including the fish that is known to be the Burma. Some persons that are meant to be doing something differently have benefited from the system and choose not to leave. So they take palm oil from this place and take fish from that place to whatever reason. Some even do border crossing business now. And there are still people.
So if we wake up today as a country and say we are not funding our security agencies, we are going to cut the funding to just about
I want to agree.
10 to 20%.
I want to agree with Dr.
Do you think the crisis will continue if we cut it to 20%?
Let me tell you something. Nigerians are very ingenious. We are one of I'm not patronizing races here, but in black race, Nigerians are one of the most one of the most intelligent ones.
Of course.
We can develop all sort of technology ourselves locally that will give us what we want, designed uniquely for our country. But how do we get there? When we don't have any institution that is given that responsibility.
Okay, so the way to go is the counter-terrorism.
We must create a counter-terrorism agency. In that agency, we will now start talking about developing technology and the strategies on how to counter this terrorism. Otherwise, the military is there to protect its own the nation territorial. But I ask you one question: with the way military have been stretched today, if, for God forbid, we have external aggression, who is going to fight for us?
So as we wrap up, finally, gentlemen, as we speak to the Nigerians are tired of democracy. They will tell you that in plainly, they'll tell you they are tired, they have lost hope in democracy. As we forge forward to the 66th anniversary, what kind of government will we be thinking about? Because if democracy has brought about crude capitalism, where everybody grabs for himself and doesn't even leave the crumbs for the common man, and democracy worked in other developed countries because people have gotten to that level. But in Africa, it has not, because we have a docile population that are too sentimental to even ask questions, because if my brother is there, he can loot everything. So what kind of government should we be talking about as we forge to the 66th year as a country?
What I will suggest here is we should go back to our drawing board and look at our own peculiarities and redesign our democracy that is going to suit the purpose of our country. Thinking of bringing a new other kind of government, I think will counter or will be a big problem for us, because the world is globalizing now to a global village, and democracy is the driver that brought all that. So we cannot be in isolation of the global change. What we need to do is look at our uniqueness, look at our peculiarities, see our problems, and understood that we need stronger institutions, political institutions that can monitor, check, punish, and discipline any factor in any sphere of governance.
Okay.
This is
recently some members of the National Assembly had a summit calling for a parliamentary system of governance. Will that solve our problem?
No, like you said, they can't change an old beer in a new bottle. It doesn't change it. It's just name changing. Before we have the same system where we started, and after 63 now, from
we are going back to
63 to 66, and for 6 years, a lot happened even between that time when Tafawa Balewa was the prime. But obviously, for some reasons, like you said, first thing first, Do we even have institutions that call themselves party? Then secondly, do we have a system that we will rely on to build on even after someone takes the center stage? And thirdly, trust me, and that is between man and God, there's no connect between people that come to rule and the govern. People, they have serious disparity here. People only who want to become the heads, the chairman, the councillors, the House of Reps, the Senate, with serious disconnect to the real populace they are about to represent. I can tell you for free that some members that step on in the name of coming to represent their primary assignments don't even have a connect with the people they represent. And again, the governors that are said today.
Okay, so strong institutions.
Strong institutions and connectivity to the real, to the people you govern. Let there be that synergy in a way, because we're talking about democracy.